Weather out there through the afternoon. Temperatures holding steady for a while tonight. Clearing colder lows into the lower 30s. For Friday, a breezy, chilly day. Mostly sunny, though highs 47 to 50 with more sunny and cool weather for the weekend. This Christmas Eve, join us at 5 p.m. for a traditional Christmas Eve communion at Abba's House in Hickson. Bring your whole family and begin your celebration with us. Traditions, a communion service at Abba's House. For more, abbashouse.com. And I'm Sourcine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Ward. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
I really think now more than ever, one needs to be prepared and, hope for the best, but expect the worst. Because if the worst comes and you're not prepared, man, do I need to say more? You'd be in big, big trouble. Radio really doesn't dedicate its time to, I'm not going to say scaring you, but making you aware of the real threats out there and then giving you the solution to the problem and problems. And it's one thing we do here at Hot News Talk Radio. Everyone has an opinion on an issue. And one of the things that annoy me about talk show hosts is they all bloviate. They all give their opinions. They're all experts on everything. But where's the solution? And the difference is on Hot News Talk Radio at hotnewsradio.com, hotnewstalkradio.com, Twitter, YouTube, where we're broadcasting live, TuneIn Radio. We're not only going to address the issues and the problems, but we are going to give you the solutions. Well, what makes you know what the solutions are? Because that's our job. That's what we do. You may make a widget. You may build a truck. You may drive a truck. That's our job, is to point out the problems as the fourth branch of government, the executive, the judicial, the legislative, and then us, the media, we're the fourth branch of government. Now, that's just, we're really not constitutionally, but basically we are. We oversee the three branches that are basically going to try to screw you. And the way you prevent them from doing that is the same way you kill cockroaches. You shine a spotlight on them and they scatter. Well, the bigger the spotlight, the more cockroaches appear and the more they scatter. The smaller the light, the more the cockroaches gather in the dark and the more they do damage. And that's what politics are. Whether you're a Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, whether it's local, state, federal, national, international, politicians and bureaucrats tend to be crooked and corrupt, and I trust none of them. If their lips are moving, the chances are they are lying. So we're here to shine that spotlight. P5 preparedness here in Chattanooga sheds a big spotlight on this because they care about you. You don't get into a business like preparedness unless you really believe with your heart and soul that you need to provide a service. You need to provide products for individuals. You need to educate them because they care. We care about our constitutional republic. And that means everyone, not just Christians, Jews, Muslims. That means everyone. And at the center of this, Seth and my buddy right here, who's going to be taking the left side of the mic at around 11:30. You ready for this?
I better be, because I'm doing it.
From P5 Preparedness. And I even love the name. And you got that dude sitting outside of the shop?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's so cool. It's such a man's store. Now, if you want to see this, I want you to go to Twitter and Hot News Talk Radio, and you'll get a chance to see what it looks like when you walk in. And trust me, it's not a Bath and Beyond. And I think the other week we talked about this when I accidentally walked into a Bath and Beyond. I thought I was going somewhere else. I'm like, oh, what just happened? When you walk into this store, you could tell it's a man's store.
Yeah, we don't have potpourri going in there. You know, we've got a little bit of old tactical gear, but it's in really good shape. But, you know, hey, this is a man's store. And that's a really good thing because I'm talking to the men today, especially the white guys that are out there, because I really hope you're listening. I hope you're paying attention, because I'm wondering if you know what's been happening around you. I sure hope so, because the things that have been going on have been happening for a really long time. And you know what? I am really tired of it. I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to put up with it. You know, your mind has been so polluted with the junk that's on TV. A lot of times you just sit there and you don't really understand what's happening. You watch college football. You watch the nonsense that's going on. You know who Dale Jr. or when he won his last race. You know who the defensive coordinator is at Alabama. You know the stats for Cam Newton. But you don't know who your congressman is. You don't know what's going on in the legislature. There are things that are going on, I would say, behind our backs, but they're not happening behind our backs. They're happening right in front of us. We just don't know where to look. We sit and we watch television. But look what's happened to one of the greatest sports heroes of our generation, Bruce Jenner. What in the hell happened to him? He's been watching reality TV, and it ruined him. He wanted to be part of that life. Well, you know what? It's time to put down the remote control, the beer, the porn, or whatever it is that's keeping you from being a man. It's time to exercise, both mentally and physically. Start walking. Start doing some calisthenics. I hope you remember what those are. That's doing the push-ups and sit-ups. You don't need to join a fancy gym to exercise your body. And you can exercise your mind too. Dust off your Bible or buy a copy of the Constitution. Learn who your legislators are and what they're doing in Washington. Because if you find out what they're doing, it's going to make you absolutely sick. You need to tell them, hell no, I'm not going to put up with it anymore.
We have a secting society that's not protected. And this isn't racist, but it basically is the white male. And it's the unborn child. And that's not to say that there aren't a lot of African-American constitutionalists and so on and so forth. But the white male, and I'm just pointing out facts, tend to look like fools on sitcoms and television. They're always the dope. If you look at any one of these criminal shows, and my other half will do it, I'll point and go, it's the white guy between 25 and 64 that did it. And every single show, it's not the Muslim, it's not the Indian, not the black guy, not Chinese guy. It's the white guy between 25 and 64 that's the criminal. Enough is enough. And just because we're saying this doesn't mean we're racist. We love everybody. Black, white, yellow, green, doesn't matter. But we're pointing out a fact, and we're pointing out a system in Hollywood that is systemic cancer. The reason for that is the federal government gives Hollywood tens of millions of dollars to add into their shows pro-government propaganda, which means anti-white male, pro-abortion, pro-internationalist, pro-New World Order, pro-now climate change. It was global cooling and global warming. People don't realize this, but the federal government sends to Hollywood writers and producers tens of millions of dollars to insert this. As they do, Duke, when you see someone smoking a cigarette, the cigarette industry is paid for that. When you see someone drinking a cup of Java, if it's a Starbucks cup, they're paying for that. It's called product placement within a movie or television show. You are being brainwashed constantly in the media, especially television.
I can't understand on one of the foreign policy issues. I heard yesterday or the day before that the Obama administration has agreed to allow Assad to stay in Syria after 3 years, probably $1 billion worth of arming the rebels. And we don't know what side the rebels are on. But we're no longer going to try to get Assad out. So I don't understand who we're fighting with or who we're fighting for over there. It drives me nuts. I wouldn't say we're on the brink, but we're sure going down the path toward nuclear war with Russia. Now we've got terror attacks in the United States, and our president can't say that it's Muslim extremist. It can't say that it's Islamic terror. Well, hey, jihad, it's coming to a neighborhood near you. What about an economic collapse? You look at the things, if you're reading the right things, you're going to see that our economy is not doing very well. Hey, change. Obama promised to fundamentally change this country, and he's done exactly that. One thing you can count on with Muslims is that they do what they say they're going to do.
And Duke, it's not just that Obama promised the change. He guaranteed the change by electing a Marxist. And it's not, he can't admit to Islamic extremist terrorism. He refuses not to. If you hire, and I talk about this all the time, I call it a conspiracy of philosophy. On this radio station, you're going to hear like-minded people. You're going to hear people that are conservative, that believe in the Constitution of the United States, Christian values. They're the type of people you're going to hear on this radio station because we're speaking the truth. We're trying to educate Americans on how to retake and empower themselves, not by voting, not by joining groups or organizations, but by gaining knowledge and then empowering yourself. So when someone like Obama or a Bush or a Clinton or a Bush Sr. or a Carter or a Nixon, I'm going back, Johnson, so on and so forth, they are there because it is a conspiracy of philosophy. They were created by the system. They are owned by the system. They belong to the system. And the enemy of freedom is socialism, government control over production and distribution. And that is the heart, core, and soul of our republic, illegally and unconstitutionally. And the Republicans adopted it. The Democrats adopted it. Look at the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto. We're about one plank away from fulfilling the entire 10 planks. So every single one of these people are culpable.
Yeah, it really, I almost don't know what to say. You know, we have just kind of sat back and we've watched, but that's what we've been trained to do. You know, as you were saying a few minutes ago about men and we're always the criminal now. You know, if it's not the criminal, it's like the slapstick comedies from the 20s. We're the fall guy. We're the falling down klutz. We're the butt of the jokes.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I am tired of that.
Yeah.
You know, I am a Christian. I am a prepper, a veteran. I am conservative. I'm a gun owner. I'm a small business owner, but yet I'm the bad guy.
Well, they want to make you feel apologetic, and they want to belittle you. That's how the left works. See, the left can't make an argument. Let me give an example of what I did. We have 2,262 followers, and we were tweeting out on Twitter. If you go here, you will see pro-gun information. And I'm looking on Twitter right now. One of my tweets was, the feds are just trying to scare you. FBI, ATF, EPA, OSHA, IRS have harmed more Americans than Islamic terrorists. And I have a picture of a tyrant, and it says Barack Hussein Obama. And there's another picture. But here's the one that I think you may find interesting right here. And that is, we can bring it up. Here we go. Here's one of my tweets. All laws regarding speech or guns, Amendment 1 and 2, are unconstitutional. Want to debate me? That's me. On air? Let me know. Hot News Talk Radio at Gmail. Do you know how many people have responded to that to want to debate me?
I would guess not many.
None. And for 40 years, I can't get anybody to come on the air and debate me that every single gun law or speech law that's ever been passed by any legislature, state, local, federal, is illegal and unconstitutional. And as a matter of fact, if two politicians sit together and discuss restricting gun ownership, that is sedition. And in times of war, it's treason, because states' constitutions take over, not the federal. This is what's important. And here's where preparedness comes in. Article 1, Section 21 of the state constitution of Pennsylvania said the right of the people, the right of the citizens to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state shall not be questioned. That existed prior to the Second Amendment, whose restriction was only upon Congress until the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. So every individual state has their rights to bear arms. So you can't even question gun ownership in Pennsylvania, yet they constantly pass laws, which means individuals that take an oath to protect the Constitution and defended it have already committed not only a lie and perjury, but sedition and treason, and should be in prison.
Yeah. You know, you're right on target with that. Gun rights are important. It's not so you can protect yourself in your home. It's so that you can overthrow a tyrannical government when needed.
Well, that is part of it. And that's part of the Second Amendment. Was the purpose of a gun was to hunt so you could feed your family, to protect yourself and your family, to protect your honor. There were duels. And when called upon by the sheriff to form a posse comitatus to go get the bad guy, and when called upon by the governor, the organized and unorganized militias, to protect their state against federal intrusion. And then when the president called upon the governor to raise the militia to protect your nation against foreign invasion. And the founders knew that who are the militia? All the able-bodied men of America that must have ammunition and guns. So we are the militia. So what guns are allowed for us? Every single weapon that the federal, state, or local government has, you and I have a right to have under Amendment 2 that recognizes your God-given right under our constitutional republic.
That's right. And the National Firearms Act of 1934, it didn't necessarily ban any type of gun or weapon. It just made you fill out more paperwork. And pay a tax. I think it's a $200 tax for just about anything, but they're delaying your rights to get that because if you want to buy a suppressor or a silencer, you may have to wait 6 months or 12 months to get it. That is ridiculous. We have the rights to those things, and we need to, the point of this show and preparedness, it's not just about how do you start a fire, from rubbing two sticks together. The point is getting your mind right, your body right. You have to be ready for what's coming. There's a lot of crazy stuff that's coming. You know what? It's not climate change. It's not man-made climate change. There's no such thing. It took God to create the heaven and the earth. You really think that man can change that? Maybe we can influence it a little bit. There's sky striping that happens in this area, but we cannot change global temperatures. The stuff that we're having today is because of El Nino. This is the strongest El Nino on record.
It's El Nino in the sunspot cycle.
Yeah.
But the occupiers of this republic and the one world government wants to blame everyone that breathes and tax the air you breathe via carbon credits. It's a big scam. They want to tax the means of production, and they want to tax us individually and have us exchange carbon credits in order to, once again, control the individuals of not only this country, but the world. And what we're going to do this half hour is talk about the problems we're engaged in. And the last half hour, we're going to talk about the solutions and how you need to go to P5, get educated. And we're going to talk about preparedness. That's in the last half hour of the show here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, hotnewstalkradio.com, on Twitter, Hot News Talk Radio, TuneIn Radio. What a great app. Just download that TuneIn Radio app and search Hot News Talk Radio. Once again, you can find us with the most up-to-date tweets. And I think you'll love our take on it and some of our photos too. On Twitter, search Hot News Talk Radio. Duke is with me, one of the owners of P5 Preparedness in East Ridge and Chattanooga. What's your address? And just throw out your website address and phone number real quick here, Duke.
The street address is 1309 Panorama Drive, but where we're on East Brainerd Road. It's halfway between I-75 and Gun Barrel. That's exit 3A off the interstate. You can call us at 423-602-2175. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7. The website is p5preparedness.com, and you really need to follow us on Facebook. That's where we get a lot of the interaction with people. A good thing to do to learn about us, to learn a little bit about preparedness, tonight, it's every Thursday night from 6:45 to 9 o'clock. We have a free networking meeting. We usually have about 20 or 25 people. We have a set discussion. You can ask whatever questions you want, and it's a roundtable discussion. So you can hear from other preparedness-minded people in the area. There's a lot of beginners every week that come to that, and there's a lot of long-term preppers in there as well.
That is so important. Don't feel that you're alone, because we are on your side. And let me tell you, constitutionalists and patriots have been doing this. I'm doing this 40 years. Have we been harassed? Have we been intimidated? Have we gone to court? Have we dealt with all the bad issues of the feds and the local governments? Yes, we've been through all this, but we're not going to share that with you because it's all overcome. We're not going to try to scare you and say, oh, the world's coming to an end. Don't take action. Action comes individually. And violence is the last thing you want to do. The first thing you want to do is get educated. The next thing you want to do is be prepared to argue your case and then possibly argue it in court, administratively, or in a judicial setting. Violence is the very last thing you use, and it's only absolutely necessary when your life, your family's life, your city, state, or nation's life is at stake. We just want to remind you of that. Preparedness is not just about having a gun. It's about making sure your family is safe. So we want to let you know that you are not alone, that what we're talking is not radical. This is not, it sounds radical now because we accept that a boy and a boy can marry and a girl can marry. Well, it can't. I don't accept things that don't make sense. And I won't, and I refuse to. And anybody that doesn't like it, I really don't care, because I probably don't want to be around you anyway. So there you go. Bob and Bill cannot marry. It's illegal and unconstitutional. Jill and Jan can't marry. They can say whatever they want. They can call it whatever they want. It's not a marriage. Maybe it's a civil union, but it's not a marriage. And David was talking about dollars. You can't hold a dollar. $1 is 371 of the quarter grains of fine silver at 99.9% fine. It is a unit of measurement. A piece of paper isn't $1. A piece of coin isn't $1. It's a dollar quantity of silver. So is the Federal Reserve banking system fraudulent? Yes. Is the Treasury fraudulent? Yes. Have you been conned? Yes. Does anybody else have the courage to say this but me? No. Well, maybe David Tulis, but other than David Tulis and me, no. Hannity's not going to talk about it. We love him. That big fat slob over there, that's nothing more than a rhino mouthpiece known as Limbaugh, who's about to, I think, leave the air, thank God, because he's done nothing for patriots or constitutionalists. You hear him talking about the IRS, FBI, OSHA, EPA, and how bad the Federal Reserve is? Never! Because he's a socialist rhino, like the rest of the system. You're going to hear the truth on the Man Station right here, because we talk about what is right, which is hunting, which is fishing, what is about protecting your family, about being prepared, and about, let's mention this, the war to prevent Southern independence. And this is where it all started, Duke. This is where we began the slippery slope into socialism, Marxism, fascism, oligarchies, and communism, is after the South, I'm going to say, lost the war of Southern independence, but was murdered into it, destroyed into it, killing men, women, and children, burning everything from Atlanta to the sea. That's what your old Northern friends did. And that's someone coming from someone that was raised in Philadelphia. We're going to talk about solutions next with Duke and P5 Preparedness on Hot News Talk Radio.
Gold, silver, bracelets, rings, diamonds. Rick Davis pays you cash personally. Cash, 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 and more cash. Rick Davis has got the cash and incredible deals at 50, 60, and 70% off Rick Davis on Brainerd Road near Eastgate Town Center.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Lay your burdens down at the Woodhouse. Leave all your worries at the door. Just take some time. We're transforming lives.
Happy holidays at the Wood. From the Woodhouse Day Spa. Holiday gift cards available at chattanooga.woodhousespas.com.
While politicians debate climate change and taking our guns, they leave America vulnerable to disaster. You need to act now to keep your family safe and prepared. Do you have an emergency plan? Do you have long-term storage food? Do you have the skills and mindset to survive a disaster? If not, what are you waiting for? Call P5 Preparedness right now, 423-602-2175. Do you honestly think the government is going to help you? If you do, you are wrong, dead wrong. Don't get caught unprepared. Let the experts at P5 Preparedness get you ready for any emergency or disaster situation. Today, we offer a wide range of classes for the beginner on how to prepare, as well as the expert prepper. We stock a wide range of supplies, including long-term storage food, water filtration, outdoor gear, tactical gear, and plate carriers. P5 Preparedness, East Brainerd Road, between I-75 and Gun Barrel Road. You will see the Army Deuce and a Half truck, 423-602-2175, 1309 Panorama Drive, Chattanooga, P5Preparedness.com.
If you have an event coming up for the holidays, or maybe it is your daughter's wedding, or maybe just a church or office party, then you need to select Choo Choo Barbecue. That's correct, Choo Choo Barbecue. Whether you like pork, chicken, or beef, oh yes, Choo Choo Barbecue with their savory rub flavor. Oh my goodness, it's making me hungry right now. You add in their delicious smoked aroma, and you have set the table for a perfect meal. With Choo Choo Barbecue. That's right, Choo Choo Barbecue. Why don't you give them a call right now? 423-843-9554. That's 843-9554. Call 423-843-9554. Choo Choo Barbecue. You know where it's located, off of Hickson Pike, right there at the Valley Brook area. Don't kid yourself. Your stomach is already on the way.
Here you are, working to keep your customers happy and to manage your cash flow. IRS problems are the last thing you need, but here they are, flapping about you like vultures. Get help from Eric Pelton and his team of accountants at E.J. Pelton Company. Audits, letters, proposed return changes, 1099s, penalty threats. Pelton Tax Resolution Services brings peace of mind and helps you keep more of what you've earned. EJPelton.com. Offices on Brainerd Road and in Saudi Daisy, just north of the Bilo. That's EJ Pelton. Call 622-3156. Think ahead, 622-3156.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
Welcome back. This is Duke. We're talking about preparedness. We talked the first bit of this break program about your rights, about waking up, about knowing what's going on around you. That is so important. My wife and I were talking this morning about some friends of hers. She was reading posts on Facebook about people that have been carjacked in this area. I believe it was the Walmart near Signal Mountain. Broad daylight, there was a guy standing by the car. The lady pulled in. As soon as she opened her door, she got jumped. Thankfully, there were people around that were able to help her fight that person off. That's becoming more common, even in our area. You got to pay attention. You have to know what's going on in your surroundings. One of the things that I've talked about before is situational awareness. That applies in any situation. If you're going to the grocery store, you need to see who's out and about. You have to make sure that you're parking in a well-lighted area if it's not at nighttime. There's a lot of places you need to know that you shouldn't go at nighttime. You need to know how to react. If you're a man, what are you going to do if somebody tries to jump you? Hey, at the very least, yell for help. If you're a woman, you can yell for help, but you might want to yell rape. It might not be a rape, but that's going to get more heads turned going in that direction quickly. You could have a whistle, something like that. But probably one of the best solutions is to be armed. Go get your concealed carry permit and carry it. I say get the permit because that's the legal thing to do. That's what we're supposed to do. But everybody has a right to carry a gun. You just have to follow the right procedures to get it done. So I'm talking about situational awareness. One of the things that I want to talk about, it's called normalcy bias. And what that is, that's pretty much just the day-to-day stuff. It's what you do on a normal basis. Recently, I think it was yesterday, a guy, he goes by KR in Tennessee. He had an article that was posted on survivalblog.com. That is a fantastic website. I've talked about it in the past. Survival Blog is run by James Wesley Rawls. He's really one of the leading guys in survival and preparedness. And so anytime you get an article posted on that website, it's a big deal. There's a lot of people that read that. I believe it's the #1 survival blog on the internet, and it's called Survival Blog. Well, KR from Tennessee, that's Keith from P5 Preparedness. He wrote an excellent article on normalcy bias. As an example, you go home or you're in your home and the lights go out. You might have a flashlight with you. You might have your cell phone where you can use the light on that to get around. But as you're going through your house, you're still checking light switches because that's what you normally do. You're used to the lights being out. You check the refrigerator. These are minor issues, but the problem with normalcy bias is that it can be absolutely deadly. Normalcy bias will kill because it camouflages danger, allowing those threats to sneak up and bite when least expected. We're caught flat-footed, failing to act on the signs of danger. We see that. Have you ever thought through really what you would do if you were in an active shooter situation? Do you know what to do? You better, because, hey, those things happen wherever. You never know where you could be a victim with those things. And so what you need to do, you need to figure out how to overcome that normalcy bias. In the EMT world, or the EMS world, they call that maintaining a high index of suspicion. You know, a high index of suspicion. If you're walking through that parking lot at night and you see somebody, you treat them as if they're suspicious. You know, you pay attention. You have to have that situational awareness. Your head's on a swivel, you're looking around, and you keep an eye on that person. You don't have your head in your phone. You're not texting as you're walking up to the door. You have two hands around your purse. You know, that's what you got to do. You have to know what's going on. You got to think through those situations. What would I do if this guy was coming at me? You know, hey, you're going to protect your wallet. You're going to do what you need to do if you're paying attention and you've thought it through. Very, very important. So normalcy bias, it's something that you can overcome. You just have to have a little practice on it. So go to survivalblog.com and look up the article Normalcy Bias by KR in Tennessee. So one of the things, as I was looking around yesterday, this is a little bit off the topic of preparedness, but it has to do with being alert, knowing what's going on. A lot of us watched the Republican debate the other night. While that was going on, while we were fixated on that, that's not what Congress was fixated on. They were fixated on the new omnibus spending bill. Well, that was $1.1 trillion. It's another 2,000-page bill. And if you remember, just a few months ago, there was a lot of debate about who was going to be the new Speaker of the House. A lot of the conservatives were speaking up, and they had wanted to make sure they had a say in who the next speaker was going to be. Well, there was a compromise, and Paul Ryan from Wisconsin, he became the new Speaker of the House. Well, there was a lot of concern because he's not really a conservative. He has said some conservative things. Hey, let me cut to the chase. Here's what is in the new spending bill that they're going to vote on tomorrow. There's $500 million that's going toward the UN Climate Fund. So they're funding something that we don't all believe in. Another provision secretly allows the outsourcing of over 200,000 American jobs. It raises immigrant work visas. You know, we're a little bit worried about the Syrians coming in. We're a little bit worried about who's coming over the border illegally. Well, hey, Congress fixed that for us because they've quadrupled the number of work visas that are being allowed in from 75,000 per year to 250,000. Hey, I don't think that's what we wanted. Not only that, Planned Parenthood is fully funded. Don't you remember? That was one of the big things that the conservatives were talking about that they wanted out of the funding bill. And then so Paul Ryan says, well, you know, you have to give some, you have to take some. Well, you know, the only thing that Republicans really got in this spending bill was that they the 40-year ban on exporting oil has been lifted. And so that's what the Republicans got in exchange for all that other crap. $1.1 trillion, 2,000 pages. We can't read that in 3 days. That's just absolutely crazy. That goes back to paying attention. That goes back to knowing what's going on. The normalcy bias, we're used to getting screwed. You know what? I'm tired of it. I want to speak up. You know, there's organizations in Chattanooga. I don't mean to give free plugs, but there's a Tea Party here, the Chattanooga Tea Party. They are an organization that you can go and you can get your voice heard. You need to start speaking up. You need to get involved. One of the places that you can do that, you can find like-minded people at P5 Preparedness. I mentioned that we've got the networking meeting that's going on tonight. It's every Thursday. It's from 6:45 to 9 o'clock. And that doesn't mean we necessarily end at 9. We've gone till 11 o'clock before. The P5 is located at 1309 Panorama Drive. That is really on Gun Barrel. I'm sorry, not Gun Barrel. It's on East Brainerd Road between Gun Barrel and I-75. If you get off at the exit 3, the 3A exit, you go up the hill about a mile, you'll see the big green Army deuce and a half truck parked out front. It says P5 on the side. I'm going to be doing the show every Thursday, and you can hear it on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, and you can also find it on the TuneIn app. If you go to local, once you go into the TuneIn app, look for AM 1240. You can find Hot News Talk Radio. And also Hot News Talk Radio, you can find them on YouTube. And this show will be posted on YouTube. And throughout the show, I'm going to be mentioning some links, some sites, some things that you need to read. And I'm going to post those on my blog website, and it's prepperduke.com, prepperduke.com. So going back to P5 preparedness right quick, you can follow us on Facebook. That's the best way to find out what's going on. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And also our website is p5preparedness.com. So what are the things that you really need to do to get prepared? As I mentioned before, you need to get educated. There's a lot of things that you need to be educated on. For instance, we have a mosque in Chattanooga. What's that mean? Is that a church? What exactly is that? One of the things that I want to do is have a word for the day. And the word today is imam. We hear of imams. We don't maybe know what that means. One of the things that I like to do is admit to myself that, hey, I don't understand. I don't know what that is. So I go and I look it up. So what's an imam? The first thing an imam is the leader of prayer of a mosque. He's a Muslim leader of the line of Ali, held by Shiites to be the divinely appointed, sinless, infallible successor of Muhammad. And that's the dictionary definition that I pulled straight off the internet. So don't think of the imam as just a pastor of the church. He isn't a pastor, and a mosque isn't a church. We have the mosque here locally. It's called the Islamic Center of Greater Chattanooga. So what is that? Well, the first part of that, it's the center of Islam for this area. And the area is Greater Chattanooga. So it's not just here, but it extends out in the community around us. And so the Muslims that are here in this area, they go to that mosque. So the imam is the center of Islam. He is the worship leader. He does lead worship there, but he's also the business leader. He's also the political leader, and he's the judge of Sharia law. Muslims are to follow Sharia law, and their goal is to implement it here, not just around the world, but here. So, if you go back to the first hour, one of the things that I said was help is not coming. You need to be prepared. You are on your own. And as a man, you have to take care of your family. And so are you ready to do that? Is your wife ready to follow you? You have to be able to lead even your own family. Like I said, you're on your own, but that's only mostly true. Actually, it's we the people who are on our own. And we better start fighting for what we believe in. We need to stand up for our God-given rights, and we need to do it at the local level. You need to get prepared for what's coming. You need to prepare your mind. You need to prepare your body. You know what? If you're overweight, time to get off the couch and start exercising. You need to get the gear that you need. There's a lot of good things that you can get, but it's not going to mean a darn thing if you're not in shape to use it. Are you going to be able, hey, let's say that something really bad has happened and you need to leave your house. Are you going to be able to get up off the couch, put on a backpack, and hike 3 miles? Could be longer, could be less. But the thing is that you have to be able to do that. You have to have the right gear to do that. At P5 Preparedness, our gear has been tested by the best. Some of our tactical gear is used by soldiers around the world. Our troops, that is, used around the world. We have some of the best water filters that money can buy. It's a good value, and you can really use any kind of water with it. Those are the things that you need. You have to be able to take care of the necessities. In your car, do you have some sort of get-home bag? So if you're trapped away from wherever, if you're caught in a snowstorm, are you going to be able to walk home 3 miles without freezing to death or catching frostbite? You have to have that bag in your car, and you have to know what's in it. If you have a raincoat in your car and you have some food that's been left over from when you put it in there in March, well, now it's January. Hey, your food has expired and you've got a raincoat to keep warm. That's not good enough. You've got to be on top of these things. One of the things that we've heard a lot about recently, one of the things that I was talking about just a few minutes ago was getting a gun. And hey, you know what? I really like the AR-15. Is it an assault rifle? Maybe. That's what the liberals call it. They're afraid of it. My guns have sat in my closet or in my gun safe for years, and they have not hurt anybody. I carry a gun every day. It has never hurt anybody. They don't just go off. You have to do something really stupid, or you have to be purposeful for it to go off. Learn how to use it. Learn how to use a pistol. Learn how to use an AR-15. If you have a hunting rifle, hey, great, but know how to use it in tight quarters. Learn some techniques that you can use with that rifle. You know what? Hey, Black Lives Matter. All lives matter. But to me, black guns matter. That's the new hashtag I want to get started. Hashtag Black Guns Matter, because that is what ultimately we may be called on to use at some point. Man, I hope not. But the idea here is to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. If you look at a lot of what Islam is about, there have not been any Islamic scholars that have retracted any of these statements or anything that has come out. They do what they say they're going to do. They want to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. Well, now they've declared war on the United States. So you got to get ready. You got to be ready for what's going on. So again, P5 preparedness. We talk about this stuff on a daily basis, not necessarily about global thermal nuclear war, but we can help you with canning. We have canning supplies. We have long-term storage food. We have a working aquaponics system in our business. There are about 40 bluegill that we've been raising in there since January. That's 11 months. We're growing peppers and tomatoes and all kinds of things in that aquaponics system. And that's something that'll help you with your long-term storage food, your food requirements, and you can learn from it about it at P5 Preparedness. So come down to P5. Again, we're open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7. We're on East Brainerd Road between I-75 and Gun Barrel. You can find us on the web at P5 Preparedness. And the best thing to do is follow us on Twitter. We put a lot of tweets out for information, and actually probably the best way to find out about what classes are going on. We offer a number of classes. You can get your CPR and first aid certification there through the National Safety Council. We do classes weekly on how to use or how to put together a bug out bag. We will teach you how to seal up a Mylar bag inside of a 5-gallon bucket. So that way you have that food that'll last for 15, 20 years or more. We have classes on intro to prepping. You can learn how to use a ham radio from us. And we have a class and we will teach you everything you know to pass your test. The next ham radio class and the ham radio certification test, it is the second Saturday in January. So you've got about 3 weeks to get ready from that. Go by the store, pay ahead of time, pick up your book, study the book, and then come to the class. And about 90% of the people that take the class are passing the test the first time. That's fantastic. You don't have to worry about Morse code anymore. That's gone. And you can get into ham radio. You can buy your first 2-meter radio from us pre-programmed for about $60. That is really impossible to beat. We back up what we say we're going to do. If you lose your program or something with your radio, bring it back. We'll reprogram it for you. As I mentioned earlier, all this material is going to be on my website, prepperduke.com. This is the Chattanooga Preparedness Show here on AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. If you can't maybe hear really well on the AM frequency, maybe you're in Nashville or Atlanta and you really don't get that reception that's that good, go to the TuneIn app It's available for smartphones. It's for I have the iPhone, and you can get it for the Android as well. And so what you do, you look up local on the TuneIn app, and then you look for AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. And one of the things that we also do, we do that at the radio station here, and we also do it through P5, is we use Periscope. Periscope is a great app to find out what's going on. Here in Chattanooga yesterday, we had a situation where the SWAT team was called out to a person barricaded in a room in a hotel in Ottawa. It was just off of exit 11. And when I heard about that, I actually heard about it first on Twitter. And so the thing that I did, I looked up on Periscope, and within about 30 seconds, I found somebody, just an average citizen that had been driving by, and he was broadcasting exactly what was happening. It was live. I was getting to see the SWAT team live through Periscope. It was a week or two ago. There was another situation through Twitter again. There was an active shooter situation in some small town in Wisconsin. Well, I got on to Periscope. I looked for that little town, and sure enough, I found two different people in two areas of the scene that were watching live. They were broadcasting live. That's incredible. That's real world information. So the very valuable stuff. Some of the stuff that we teach at P5 is more of the basic stuff, like map reading skills. We'll teach you how to use a compass. And the reason that is so important is that at some point, the internet can go down. You could lose Wi-Fi. You could lose your cell service. In 2009, I went through an ice storm when I lived in Western Kentucky. And at my house, we were without power for about 10 days. But the moral of the story here is that all of the landlines went down. Well, AT&T was the backup service for all the emergency services in that area. Well, the ice storm was so bad that all of the AT&T, actually all of the cell services went down. So, you're not always going to be able to use those services that are on your smartphone. One of the things that just a really good thing, you need to look at the apps that are available for emergencies. A good one is the American Red Cross First Aid app. And one thing that's nice about that is that if you are ever in an area where there is no cell service, you can still look up the information about how to treat a broken leg or how to treat somebody with maybe an allergic reaction. Those are really good skills to have. We at P5, we will teach you your basic first aid and CPR certification, but we also have more advanced first aid for it. And this is good to know type stuff. We don't teach it for just, for certification, but we teach people how to use more advanced stuff, if there was a gunshot wound or something like that. So a little bit more of the practical first aid type stuff. So we've covered a lot of stuff on the show here today. The first half hour, we went over a lot of the things that you need to do, or the reasons why that you need to be prepared. A lot of the stuff, the links that I've mentioned will be listed on my website, prepperduke.com, and we will also have that. I'll get that posted on the Nooganomics website. So again, this has been the Chattanooga Preparedness Show. I'm Duke. I'm your host. We'll be here every Thursday from 11 to 12. One other thing on P5 Preparedness, don't forget the network meeting tonight from 6:45 to 9 o'clock. And again, this is AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. And this is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying this. I really want to work to get the word out, to get people involved. And that's what you need to do. You need to get involved. You need to know what's going on around you. You need to get involved. Most importantly, guys, you need to step up to the plate. Be a man, be a leader. Do that, get involved, take care of your family, take care of your responsibilities. This is Duke. Have a good day.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect lots of clouds, but drier weather out there through the afternoon. Temperatures holding steady for a while tonight. clearing colder lows into the lower 30s. For Friday, a breezy, chilly day. Mostly sunny, though highs 47 to 50 with more sunny and cool weather for the weekend. This Christmas Eve, join us at 5 p.m. for a traditional Christmas Eve communion at Abba's House in Hickson. Bring your whole family and begin your celebration with us. Traditions, a communion service at Abba's House. For more, abbashouse.com. And I'm Smorgine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Ward.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.